The wait is over. Majora's Mask finally got released onto the 3DS. But you know, I think it's only fair that we show some respect to its roots on the N64. So in honor of Majora's Mask coming out on the 3DS, I've decided to review... not Majora's Mask for the N64.
The story begins with our hero Link leaving his quiet life in the forest to save the kingdom of Hyrule from an evil king of thieves known as Ganondorf. Ganondorf seeks the all-powerful Triforce, a relic which can grant any wish, so Link decides to beat him to it. Along the way, Link meets up with Princess Zelda, who tells him the only way to get to the Triforce is through a portal called the Door of Time. Unfortunately, when Link opens the Door of Time, he's sealed away, leaving literally nothing standing between Ganondorf and the Triforce, thus allowing him to conquer Hyrule. Oops. Link wakes up 7 years later in a place called the Chamber of Sages, where he's told by Rauru that he can only defeat Ganondorf with the help of 5 other sages who all lay dormant somewhere in Hyrule. And so your true adventure begins. Ocarina of Time is often argued to be the best entry in the franchise, and while it's not my favorite Zelda game, it's definitely in my top 5. This game revolutionized the way Zelda games were played, changing from a top-down 2D perspective to a full 3D third-person experience. This allowed for more complex puzzle solving and battles that required more strategy. Not to mention it brings a lot of charm to the table, with interesting and/or quirky characters, a deeper plot, and a beautiful world that needs some serious saving. Of course, with a more complex game come more complex dungeons, or temples as most of them are called. I loved how each one presented its own scenario, like the Forest Temple, which causes monsters to spawn in Link's once peaceful forest village, or a more gross dungeon on the inside of a giant fish, where you have to rescue the princess of the Zora tribe. I don't really mind this dungeon for the most part, but it bothers me that once you beat the boss, you respawn behind the fish. I mean, you don't think that... because it... Nintendo wouldn't... But what about the bosses? As you may expect, there's one at the end of each dungeon. Figuring out their weaknesses shouldn't be too difficult, seeing as most of them have to do with a certain trap or obstacle you encounter during the dungeon. Even so, you'll get your butt handed to you if you're not careful. As previously mentioned, you'll meet a lot of lovable or just downright weird characters on your quest to save Hyrule. This opens the door to a handful of side quests, because these people have some serious issues. Some of the side quests are quick and simple, like completing a minigame or stealing a horse, while others will take you extensive amounts of time to complete, like collecting golden spider medallions or defeating all these chickens. One interesting feature about this game I'd like to mention is the day and night system. In certain areas of the game, such as the main field, time will actually pass. There isn't a whole lot of depth to this system, as most areas are open regardless of the time of day, but it's still a cool feature nonetheless. And besides, who doesn't like to watch the sunrise? I'll be honest with you, there really isn't anything worth complaining about in this game. It has a great story, great characters, great boss fights, and plenty of distractions if you want to take a break from adventuring. And on top of all that, the game is very long. So I guess you'll be investing a lot of time into it. I give The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time a 10 out of 10.